Voice of the Free, Bridging Hope. Upholding Dignity. It is a hybrid organization that combines social care,
This is the Forbidden Words at Asian TV Heritage Network.
Established in 1991, Voice of the Free Foundation, Incorporated is an officially accredited Philippine non-government organization known for innovations in addressing modern-day slavery, specifically human trafficking, and domestic servitude. They partnered with over 400 local and international socio-civic groups.
Harassment, how our energy sometimes drain up, and actually sometimes our spirit is also shattered because of a lot of frustration. Whatever future brings to me in my fight against slavery, I promise that I will never stop until our people were actually free to explore opportunities.
According to the U.S. of State Report Against Trafficking in Persons in 2022, the government of the Philippines fully meets the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking. The government continued to demonstrate serious and sustained efforts during the reporting period, considering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on its anti-trafficking capacity. Therefore, the Philippines remained on Tier 1. These efforts included identifying more victims than in 2020, drafting standard operating procedures, SOPs, on the identification and monitoring of trafficking-related corruption cases, sentencing nearly all traffickers to significant prison terms, and creating an executive-level Department of Migrant Workers. Victim witness coordinators supported more victims participating in the criminal justice process than in the previous reporting period, and the government increased funding to the Interagency Anti-Trafficking Council. According to the website of U.S. Department of State, although the government meets the minimum standards, it did not report vigorously investigating labor trafficking crimes that occurred within the Philippines or take adequate steps to investigate and arrest individuals suspected of purchasing commercial sex from trafficking victims, nor did it provide training for labor inspectors on indicators of human trafficking. The government prosecuted and convicted fewer traffickers, and it did not report holding accountable officials allegedly complicit in human trafficking crimes. In the reference to the Voice of the Free website, the Philippines is primarily a source country for men, women, and children subjected to sex trafficking and forced labor. The Global Slavery Index report estimates that 784,000 Filipinos are presently enslaved. Many work overseas as migrants. The Commission on Filipinos Overseas estimated in 2012 that there were around 10.5 million Filipinos living overseas, and 1.34 million of these are irregular or undocumented migrants. The Voice of the Free, VF, believes in empowering vulnerable women and children so that they can explore opportunities without the risk of trafficking and exploitation. It innovates lasting programs that contribute to ending modern slavery and trafficking.
This is Asian TV Heritage Network.
Hi, my name is Janine Gonzaga Champaro. My participation, I started this band. I tried to put it together back in 2018. And the reason for that is because I met Cecilia Obanda, which is the founder of Voice of the Free Foundation, and Katie Ford from Freedom for All Foundation. That's her foundation in New York. We met about 2017. So it's been a while, and I'm from here. I was born and raised here, but been in the United States for more than 25 years. And so when I met them, I figured, you know what, why don't I help over there? I have contacts there anyway. And so when I came here, I thought of maybe have a little program, like a charity talk, where I would invite different individuals, friends of mine, and also businesses and philanthropists who could potentially help the foundation, to help the anti-human trafficking program, to join the fight for human trafficking program that they have here. And that's how it all started. So this is actually our fourth year, fifth year.
Congratulations. And it's Women's Month. What is your own definition of empowered woman?
Definition of an empowered woman, I believe, is somebody who actually has a freedom of her own to decide what she wants to do with her life. You know, there's so many definitions about that, being wealthy, being successful, being rich, or whatever. I personally think freedom is the most important part. If you have the freedom to have your own family, follow a career, or do both, and have the flexibility to stop one section of your life and do the other. Well, human trafficking is a big problem globally, and it's not just here in the United States. Even in the United States, where I live right now, I live in New York, it is a big issue over there. But primarily, it got highlighted when the lockdown happened, that a lot of the third world countries have suffered more than the first world countries. I mean, here in the Philippines alone, Cecilia told me that human trafficking increased by 265% on the first quarter alone of the lockdown, which is 2020. That's a staggering number. So I'm appealing to everybody to kind of learn about it first, because if you don't understand what it is, then you wouldn't know how to help. That's kind of like how I started. I'm definitely not an expert on this. I mean, I've only been doing this for the last few years. But every time I come, like last week, I was at the center, they call it the Center of Hope, where they have the survivors are being kept there and taken care of and looked after. And Cecilia and Cheryl has done a wonderful job. They've been doing this for 25 years. And I'd seen the kids from getting rescued to giving education and shelter, and also giving them the skills so they can help get reintegrated back into the society. And on top of that, of course, all the mental health issue that they need to address. So they've been doing a lot of this amazing work.
My name is Cecilia Oibanda Pasis. I'm the founder of Voice of the Free, an NGO in the Philippines working on the issue of human trafficking. The Voice of the Free has actually been here fighting for almost 3 decades already. And we are an organization who are on the front line in protecting people in strategic port like airports and ports before. We're also an organization who are actually guiding the back door in Zamboanga, trying to avoid trafficking in transit and try to protect those people who, potential victims of human trafficking. Well, for me, leadership is really to respond to the needs of the people who needed it, help, right? And leadership is to catalyze effort to respond to a difficult problem, whatever it takes. So sometimes even you're also afraid, you still do your job, and because you know that every cases that you encounter, it's a human being, it's a soul, it's people that we need to protect and give justice. Please visit our website, www.voiceofthe3, and you can also email us and director at voiceofthe3.org.ph. I think that's always the stereotype, that women are weak and women cannot lead. But at the end of the day, women have the tenacity and the power within us as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter to fight. And for me, running these organizations, it really takes a lot of courage. This is a long haul fight, and without courage and without commitment to fight, you're not really winning. And for us, modesty aside, we're able to help thousands of girls already that I can say that I also get my courage from them.
Well, my organization is Freedom for All. We're based in New York and work with 10 organizations around the world to fight human trafficking and slavery. Our longest time partner is Voice of the Free, that is based here in Manila and works to end all forms of trafficking, whether it's labor trafficking or child sex trafficking.
What prompted you to be part of this organization as a leader, as an empowered woman?
Well, when I heard that there are 40 million people in slavery today. I couldn't believe it. And I thought I had to use my voice, having run Ford Models, to talk about it more publicly to a bigger audience.
This is the Forbidden Words at Asian TV Heritage Network.